News.
All right, what do you want me to call you? Gorilla
I
Mama,
forget what we were
Nika,
talking about.
Miss Jones?
Wait,
What do you?
wait. What am I going by? Why do you have to call my name? Can't you just say I have this girl here today?
No, that's
And we
not how
can.
this works. That's not how any of this works.
Ah, shit. Okay, so
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I have a very, very special guest. I know I hyped it at the beginning of the show. This has been a long time coming. I think we've canceled this like 2 or 3 times at this point. All your fault, by the way. All your fault. Um,
anyways.
we have Gorilla Mama is in the building. You guys may follow her on Twitter. If you do, you already know she holds nothing back. So this is going to be a fun conversation. How you doing, ma'am?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
I am blessed. I had a great week. Just been blessings all the way around.
Why was your week so great?
Um, it was great. It was great.
Oh, okay, good. Good to
Lot
know.
lot of love. Lot of love.
Oh gosh.
So, I guess before we get started, we should talk a little bit about you, right? Just to set the stage. Are you going to be nervous about that? I usually do an icebreaker the first time people are on. You okay with that?
Okay, let's try it.
Let's try it.
Let's try it.
You sure?
I'm positive. Go for
Okay.
it.
So, you are somebody who's very prominent on social media on multiple platforms, right? You're very
Okay.
well known. You're known around the city of Columbus as well for just being crazy as hell. Um, so coming up with an icebreaker for you was difficult because I wanted something that may catch you off guard, but also make you think, right? So
Okay.
here's my thing, and my question to you is what when you think about a movie, a song, or anything else in the media that would be best to that represents how your brain operates on the day-to-day basis, what would it be?
Is there a song called Turmoil? Because I don't, I really don't. It's all over the place. I don't know. It would have to be like a whole playlist of just everything
A whole
from,
playlist of everything.
how the country folks get deep and then rap turn you into a thug and then the R&B got you in your feels. So it's like all of that encompassed. And then of course some reggae. Like I just need all of it. That would
Yeah,
work.
yeah. Country music, like I get it. Black people, they do make the whole fun of country music, even though there's a lot of prominent black country music stars too. But country music is deep as shit.
Deep deep.
They pour
Yeah.
their heart out in country music.
Like they hold nothing back and I love it.
All right, fair enough. You didn't actually answer the question, but that's fine. We're gonna leave it at that. We're gonna leave it at that. So another thing to make it all about you. Do you ever feel that there is a block or people hesitate to get to know you because of your social media presence? Does it start becoming all about social media, or do you feel like it's a lack of genuine people who actually want to get to know you for you?
I think it's a combo. So, like, most of my actual friends were friends prior to social media. So then it's like they know who I am. But then in meeting some of their friends, they're like, oh, you're Gorilla Mama. Like, they really refer to me as Gorilla Mama, not my name. And so, in that sense, it's like, okay, well, you know me as like that personality. And even though it's me, it's not like it's time and place for everything. So I'm not, of course, out here ordering come when I go to a restaurant. But if I'm with my friends, like, yes, we're going to talk about this. So with my genuine friends, I don't see it as an issue per se. But honestly, I think because I'm so open with everything I talk about, that does help with people wanting to be able to talk to me about things. So the DMs are filled with like actual conversations with people who are like, no, I do think that you're a good person despite the craziness that you post on the timeline. So like, I do want to talk to you. So it's like a good mix.
Yeah, and it's crazy how like having just a little bit like being outspoken on social media, it naturally brings people to kind of use you as like therapy for a way, because I think that freedom that they see, a lot of people don't have that. So when they see it, they're kind of drawn to it, and they want to know how you're able to be so free because they're not able to be.
Exactly. That's facts.
I guess a better icebreaker question for you would have been, and I'll cut this out if you're not comfortable with it being on, but I don't know. Would you rather never be able to taste cum again or never be able to suck dick again?
What the hell? Like, how are those my two options?
Those are the two options.
Suck dick, because if I can just get the cum and I had to put no work in for it, like, yes, give me a bowl of cum, please and thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, there we go. You can keep it in. Mm-hmm. Yep.
I can keep it in?
Yep. You know, finish inside. It's the best way.
Fair enough. So the topic that I picked for you, because I told you I was going to have you on, had to be something deeper, had to be something that make you think. And so this concept and this thought of, like, because prominent on social media, but like we never get to really see, or no, I mean, not say never, but very rarely is the person who's presented on social media is the same person you'll meet day to day, right? Do you feel like that's true generally among people?
I think so for the most part. Like, I mean, for people who are really on there, like there are those people who throw a tweet out once every 5 days. Like, obviously that's them. Yeah. But somebody who's like on there morning, noon, and night, it's kind of like I said, time and place for everything. So I can be all of that on Twitter, but I can't do that in my day-to-day life. So definitely. It's a little different.
And so, like, the thing with social media that it can be very, very negative and toxic. Like, you take weeks off at a time. I wish that I could. I always say I'm going to, and then I never fucking do. But you good?
Yeah, Netflix making noise and the TV's been on sleep, so threw me off a little bit.
But
been
so
watching too many scary movies.
Scary movies are the shit.
Yeah.
But this concept of people like to look at others rather than look at themselves, and that can sound negative, but I'm going to take this both positive and negative places, right? Because it can be what we talked about before. They can see someone being free, being open, and it helps them learn to be. So they look at that for other people, and then maybe they learn to adapt things from themselves that way, and it helps them positively. But then we see a lot of negativity where people attack someone or talk about someone's ideas or their feelings or their thoughts or whatever, and they don't have their own shit together, right? So what do you think about people using, because everyone has a mask to a degree, but how people use that mask of social media to project their issues on other people? What do you think about that?
So, of course, that's not the best way to go about it. Like, I know there was one time I got to talking about how a lot of people aren't used to getting bullied. And, you know, I talked about how growing up, like, I was talked about for a lot of things. Like, I have a big old forehead. Like, my eyebrows were not together growing up. Definitely had a mustache. So it was like a lot of things came at me. And so for me, those were all facts though. So like now in terms of like what I end up doing on social media is like, I point out facts and people view that as being a bully. And somebody said like, you need to heal. I think I healed. And I realized that no matter what anybody says to me, ultimately how I feel about myself is what matters. So if I'm on there projecting, I guess, the negativity of being bullied, and then it comes off as if I'm being a bully, that can be bad. But people sometimes got to realize, like, I saw something within me. I find it to be okay. So if I point it out with you, we can't really be at odds here. So that's what I think.
That's a good point. I mean, we talk about bullying a lot, and we talk about, of course, the negative aspect of bullying. But in this culture that we live in now, right, where I call it like the participation trophy culture, because everybody wants an award for something, right? And that we don't really deal with failure anymore. Like, kids aren't taught to deal with failure. Like, for me, like, for example, my son on his basketball team, you either make the varsity team or you make the JV team. Even if you'll never play a minute, you can make the JV team, back when I was growing up, niggas got cut from teams, and that taught you needed to spend that year and that summer getting better so you can make the team. So like there is an aspect of like, I get not wanting people's feelings to be hurt. I get all of that, but there is also an aspect of it of it helps growth. It helps drive people. It helps push you to mature and get better. And I wonder if we're losing that to a degree now because everything has to be so PC.
Exactly. Like there has to be a winner, there has to be a loser. Like, of course, putting someone down is not the answer to it. But even like we had a little Christmas party and my friend's son, like he got upset because he didn't win. I went to talk to him and I was literally like, guess what? There was literally only one winner. All the rest of us are losers. Like at the end of the day, if you realize the reality of the situations that you're in, you'll take it and you'll grow from it. Like you said, like you can't grow if everything constantly goes the way that you want it to go. So you need some of that negative, whatever, maybe positive, negative feedback, maybe outcome that you weren't necessarily expecting, but ultimately taking from those things and like trying to grow from them. Like I think that's the biggest thing. People are afraid of their growth. They're afraid of their change. They're so used to doing something in a certain way, and so it didn't work. Instead of being like, all right, well, what can I adjust? They're just like, nope, I'm gonna keep doing this over and over again. And that comes in like everything: work, relationships, personal life, health, like all that. It just you need some L's to grow.
And so it's, you say L's, right? I think we all took a collective L as a culture with the pandemic, right? This year was, everyone can say they took a collective L this year. You've had an even year that's really strengthened you, right?
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. And so what did you take away, like internally, looking at it as like, what did you take away? And now you're better equipped, or you're stronger. You've taken that L and turned it into a win for yourself.
So many L's that I took that I had to get different like feedback on what was this L for. And so each time things happened, I was like, all right, well, let me look at the bright side. But I didn't really like sit and say, no, this was what happened, and this is probably why it happened. Like, and once I finally did that with everything that ended up going on for me, it was really just you gotta stop, like take a pause, take a breath, and focus on what's in front of you. Like living in the moment was something that I was struggling to do. Being present around people who actually wanted my presence, like actually working in the relationships that I had, whether it was friends, family, and all that good stuff, because I was just out here just living my best life. And so everything that ended up happening made me refocus me, figure out what I was really doing, which weren't all good things, and then figuring out how do I go from here. And so it's just making my steps, making my plans, and going forward in a actual directed way instead of this just free spirit, because I was flying and falling and it was just an endless cycle of crap. Like, yeah.
Yeah, and I like that you described it as flying and falling, because it is a high feeling behind it, right? Like you're still, you feel very high, and sometimes you don't realize, like, all right, yeah, maybe I was flying, so to say, but I was aimless. I wasn't really going anywhere in that flight. So yeah. And so you mentioned earlier how like things that you went through in school, the fact that you had a Mustang, which
Don't judge me, sir. This is a judgment-free zone.
No judge. We do not judge here at all. But was there ever a time, like during that, since like the overarching topic is looking outward rather than inward, where when you were going through that, were you ever nasty to other people when you were really kind of self-conscious and doubting yourself?
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. Like, you know what? I looked at myself in the mirror today and I'm not feeling it. So everybody about to get it. Like, I'm talking about your shoes, your hair, your outfit. Everybody gets it today because today's not a good day for me. So I from that standpoint, I can definitely see it. And like, even on days where I'm like really feeling away inside, I try my hardest to stay off social media, because my ability to like walk away from somebody saying anything slick is not there. And so it ends horribly. But yeah, no, I've definitely been guilty of that.
And so so because now your social media, as much as you say crazy and wild shit, you are very intentional and purposeful about uplifting women on your page. Yeah. You hype the shit out of women. Yes. In a good way, and not even a way that it's like false hype. Like, you will find something in someone and be like, girl, your eyes are fucking beautiful, and focus on that. So how did you go from being that person who looked in the mirror and saying, all right, everybody around me's finna get it because I didn't like the way I looked this morning when I woke up, to being, all right, no, I'm finna uplift these motherfuckers?
I think it came from, I didn't get the genuine uplifting that I think I needed. And so once I did, I was like, this feels good. So maybe this will be a better outcome than what I've been doing. So instead of, all right, well, I don't feel good, so I'm gonna make sure everybody don't feel good. Instead, it's more like, I felt so bad before, and I wouldn't wish those feelings on my worst enemies. So instead, I'm gonna make you feel like you are the most beautiful, the most important, the most valued woman in this world, because how many people are actually going to do that for you? Like, people talk about it, you know, family says overall things, but to like get specific and like really hone in on what somebody's presenting to you and being able to say like, no, there's beauty in that. Not too many women get that. And if I can give that to somebody one day to just prevent them from feeling so down on themselves, I'm gonna do it.
Definitely. And I think that,
but if you try me, I'm gonna shoot back, and then we'll get right back to where we were.
Oh my God. Listen, I have not seen such, your clapbacks are fucking amazing. I thought I had some amazing clapbacks. Like, I'm known for, I've told you, the way that my mama used to line us up and call us graham crackers growing up. So like, I'm used to cracking jokes. That's what we do. But it's funny to see how you will go from nice and then to defending rightfully, because people come at you. Like the time that I remember, it was like that girl tried to start saying some shit about your hair and the fact you had a big forehead, and it was like, where did this come from?
How did we get here? Like, and my thing is too, and like, this is just overall, like, the facts can't hurt. Like, and especially if you're looking at something like my forehead, like, you don't gain a forehead as you get older. This has been my forehead since I came out my mama's coochie. Therefore, I know the size of my forehead, that's not the one. Like, you got to choose something different, and you can't, because I'm not even doing nothing. And so then here you are looking mighty stupid, and it's an epic fail. But yeah.
And your people don't play about you. Lord have mercy.
I love that. I love them. I really do.
The whole timeline will turn to chaos because everybody starts.
And half the time I don't even see it. It's literally somebody like, ooh, I know they did it. And then there we go. Like, I'm not gonna turn my back from a little word off. Like, what? No.
So with having the large platform that you do and being able to touch the people that you do, how do you find the separation between social media and you?
So I think it's helpful. Like I said, I'm not literally a whole new person. Like, there are people who literally put on a act, a voice, all this type of stuff. Like, this is me. Like, the things that I put on there, they are my inner thoughts. I just can't say them out loud a lot of times, but you know, it's Twitter. Like, why not? So it's not a huge separation. Like, I will say, so now I only tweet from my iPad, which has helped me in like my personal relationships, because when I'm out, I'm there instead of before.
Pulling out a big ass iPad.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm not about to do that. Like, sometimes I will, but like for the most part, I'm not whipping out a whole iPad when I'm just out and about. Like, I'm not about to walk through the mall tweeting on an iPad. Like, that's just not gonna happen. So the amount of time that I put in on there, like, that's definitely something that I have to work on when it comes to, so if like I'm with my daughter, like, okay, I'm trying not to be on this the entire time that I'm with her. If I'm with my boyfriend or if I'm with my family, like this is that time. So I'm like, all right, let me focus on that. So that's really the biggest thing, was just like my time focus in terms of how often am I on this versus who am I on this. Like the switch from single gorilla mama to in a relationship gorilla mama, though, that one's tough. That one's real tough.
Oh, so you say the switch from single gorilla mama to in a relationship gorilla mama, because people I've seen social media break down whole entire relationships, right? Because people don't talk about it, or they don't know how to communicate, or they'll think, you know what, let me not bring it up because it's social media, and then it festers and turns into resentment, and then 6 months down the road, it's something bigger than you can communicate. So like, exactly, how has that affected you, or that process has gone for you?
So I was in a relationship in which I couldn't be on social media, basically. Like I feel like I got that ultimatum. And so I ended up choosing that relationship. And in that time that I did that, I was miserable. Not just because like I couldn't be on social media, but it was like somebody's running my life that I don't think is something that should be ran. So that caused resentment, because like, yeah, we definitely didn't talk about it. I just up and got up off it. Like, all right, whatever. Okay. But this time around, you know, we've talked about it and how I don't want to lose that part of me again. So like I said, Gorilla Mama and my social media is me. But it's a part of me. And I feel like when you're in a relationship with somebody, one, you do have to have those conversations. And I think we've done a very good job at talking about it. Two, both ends have to be secure. Like there are, especially when you come in after people already have like, you know, their following and ways of communicating and all that kind of stuff. Like I actually saw the tweet today where they were like, y'all, or Twitter won't affect my relationship or something like that. You got to know to ignore my Twitter if we get in a relationship. And her response was like, no, because you're not about to have me out here looking stupid. And so I do think that that is the biggest thing that comes from it. Like I'm personally guilty of it, where I've seen people in relationships and I'm like, my nigga could never, like my man would never be able to do that. But then there's times that I've tweeted some stuff and my friends are like, Miss Mama's like, what you doing? Shoot, you have come and like got me together a couple times, and I get it. And I think that's the biggest thing, is like realizing, putting yourself in that other person's shoe, realizing what you would want, what you would care about. I know my biggest cloud about everything has been, I know where my head is, and the ones that I choose to talk to in a crazy way, like it's like, I know they'd never try it, so it shouldn't matter. However, outside looking in as somebody who's preparing for like the longevity of a relationship, somebody looking in on that is going to be like, oh, well, he's a fool for accepting that. And I would never want, you know, you to feel like a fool, or whoever I'm with to feel that way. So, you know, it's the switch. I gotta be self-talk myself sometimes, because I be done my drafts. Ooh, child, that's a whole place.
Yeah. Do I get to see the drafts?
Absolutely not. No. Fuck no. That was funny. No sir. Nope.
Oh man, that's hilarious. I think it's important too. I think where a lot of people will allow themselves to fall in the trap is pride, right? On both sides, because people have that pride of, my woman's not about to tweet XYZ or whatever, and then on the flip side, you have the pride of, I was tweeting like this before you came into the picture, so why should I have to change it now? And I think once you eliminate the pride and say, all right, this is how you feel. Let's focus on how it's making you feel. This is how it's making you feel. This is how I feel about it. And if I truly care about you, how you feel is going to always come before some fucking tweets, right? And so people feel possessive over shit that really in the long run, it's like, all right, if we're planning on this relationship lasting 10, 15, 20 years, right? Twitter may not even fucking be a thing. So what do I look like allowing that to affect my possible future?
And that's where it comes down to your priorities. And like, I think that's the biggest thing that everybody, even all the relationship Twitter wars that happen, like, it comes down to priorities. If you are not a priority to somebody, their actions are going to show that to you. And you just got to listen, like, stop fighting, stop making excuses. Like, there's but so many times somebody can say something. So once that's been expressed and then you realize this person just doesn't prioritize your feelings, whether they're big, small, or whatever, like you said, those things build up and they fester and then they turn into a bigger problem that could have been resolved had you dealt with it. I know we went through like dealing with a bunch of little small things, but had we not dealt with each of them each time they came about, it would have been World War V, honestly.
Yeah, in about 6 months.
I don't know if it would have made it that far. I don't know. Yeah, man. It's real. So.
Yeah, it's real. Niggas need to learn to stop being so nice. I'm working on it.
I ain't gonna say nothing. Don't start nothing, won't be nothing. Okay. So do I ask you questions since I'm like visiting here? Do I get to ask you a question?
You know what? I very rarely, there's only been 2 people ever who've gotten to ask me questions on their first time on the podcast. But go ahead. Fuck it. Go ahead.
Okay. Now I forgot my question, so you're gonna have to cut that whole shit because I forgot what I was about to ask you. It's gonna come back, but now I know I got permission. I'll just ask it when it comes back. Okay, keep going there. Keep going. Let's go.
I'm leaving all that shit in. That is not getting cut. People need to see what you put me through.
It. I forget. No, it's been a rough 48 hours. Okay. I'm struggling.
Oh man. So have you ever and this is me more getting into your shit, like we've this, it's not just on the topic that originally started. I like when conversations are free flowing because they feel natural, but something came up to me, right? And I don't think we've ever even talked about this in like conversations outside of recording, but have you ever run into an issue where in a professional setting you met someone for the first time and they knew you through social media and it affected the professional setting that you were in?
No. So I am very...
You're lucky with that shit.
Yeah, no, I keep the separation. So I think I only have one coworker from, I started working from 15? So from... How old am I? 29. So 14 years of social media between MySpace and High Five and Facebook.
Oh,
and all
God,
those
High Five. I haven't even thought about that in years. Wow.
High Five was my shit. I literally have one coworker that follows me on Twitter. Now, Facebook, like I separate my platform. So Facebook, I am the perfect little angel, daughter, mother, worker. All that good stuff. You know, that's me over there. 95% of my feed is just getting tagged in pictures my auntie's posting. And then you go to Instagram, it's a little half and half. I'm starting to like break my mold over there a little bit more than I previously had. But like Twitter, like I don't go by my actual name. Like I keep it to Gorilla Mama, or as Twitter calls me, Ashley. Like I just keep that separation because I don't hold the filter. And I think that's needed because, like I said, I mean, I work in special ed or I'm in the legal community. And in neither of those realms can I actually speak how I speak on Twitter. So keeping that separation from like workplace to that, because at one point when my Twitter did get discovered at work, it definitely changed dynamics. And so I'm like, I just don't need that. Like what you do in your spare time, as long as it doesn't affect what you do in the workforce, just keep that separation. That's it. I'll be shocked when I see people on Facebook talking crazy like, that's your government name. Like anybody can find you on
exactly.
What are
and
you
then
doing?
for me, my name is Cordero. Like you can put that in Facebook. I'm coming up. Even if it's like 5 other people, I'm coming up. So it's like, I keep it very, very sane on Facebook.
Exactly.
But everywhere else, like, no, you can catch this work.
You can catch the way. Yeah, literally, like, I'm literally the only person in the world with my first and last name. So it's like, I would be a complete dummy to just be on Facebook cutting up. Like, no.
Yeah, and I know somebody who at my job, they work for like the HR department where they actually do try to search on social media. That like some of them stories would be like, yeah, we were close to extending an offer, and then we saw them shooting guns and such and such, such and such, and they were pointing it at the camera, and we were like, no, we don't want that. It's like, y'all,
no, thank you. Yeah, no.
All right, so I gotta have you while you're here to announce you have a podcast coming. It's not released yet, but you know the name and everything. Do you want to tell the people where they can look for that shortly and what name it'll be under?
Yes. So, soon as my associate gets his life together and finishes everything that I asked him to do in terms of getting the page and the place that I'll be posting these podcasts done, there will be a podcast called the Come Talk Podcast. Of course, if you follow me, you know what type of come I am referring to. However, because I would like for this to go somewhere, and there is no way that people on the radio will be able to say CUM podcast in that form of come, I am spelling it COME. So it is the Come Talk Podcast spelled like the regular come. So I'm excited, of course, like Twitter. No filter, every type of topic. We're going to go over lots of things. Like, I have friends from different areas of the world and different places in their life, just getting different types of perspectives on things, talking about my life, just being very unfiltered and very open and honest in a talking platform, which I like to do. So Twitter is me talking, and this podcast is going to be using my actual words, y'all being able to see me every now and again. And so I'm kind of excited about it as soon as my associate gets done doing what he needs to do.
Do I get to be a guest on this podcast?
I'll think about it. Just
I will
kidding.
be on there.
You will be on there. I mean, I have no choice but to have you on there. So yeah.
All right. I want to thank you for your time, your smiles, everything. Do you want to give them your Twitter so they can follow you?
Oh yeah, so Gorilla Mama Who is like my main page, but more than likely I'll be out of there soon. So my backup page is Gorilla Mama Nah, so NAH after Gorilla Mama, because listen, I'm trying my hardest. Like I said earlier, like, you just can't let the shots hit you and you don't shoot back. So
have you ever lost a page because Twitter took it down?
I'm on page like 7 since 2017.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Like this page that I'm on, I got on it this January. So we're seeing how long I last.
So you haven't even made a year yet?
I haven't made a year yet. Like, I made the page for the podcast I was going to start last year, but once I got suspended, I just turned it into my page. So
makes sense.
Here we are. But once my associate makes me another Twitter page for the podcast, then I'll be all set and I'll actually have 3 pages, and I can't wait. It's so wonderful to have reliable associates that do what you ask them to do when you ask them to do it. I can't relate, but you know, it sounds good.
Okay. All right. This is what we doing today. This is what we doing. That's fine. I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna run with it. And the social she's talking about is me. Yeah, but we'll get it all set up and everything. That's it. This has been another episode of the Awaken Soul Podcast. Make sure you go and follow her, support her. Her podcast, when it launches, I'm guaranteeing it's gonna sound great and amazing because I'm gonna be doing it, and it's gonna be excellent. The subject matter is gonna be great because, as you guys see here, she talks. She likes to talk. So
love it.
It'll be a great platform. But that's it. Make sure you follow us at Awaken Soul Pod. Make sure you follow me at CEO Hayes, that's CEO Haize. And that's it. We're out this bitch. Peace.
Bye. I can't even make a peace sign. That's some bullshit. Hold on.
That's your symbol.
Right? Like 3-finger peace sign.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.